Look, I know what you're thinking. And honestly, it's not what it looks like. This whole thing is so messy, and it's difficult to know where to begin. But I just feel compelled to get this off my chest and maybe find some clarity. My sister accused my husband of an affair, and my parents believed her. 2 years later, her fiancé exposed her lies and cheating. It's difficult to know where to start, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm 30, and I've been married to my husband, Jake, for 8 years. He's 34, and honestly, he's the love of my life. We have 2 kids, a 6-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. Our life was, for lack of a better word, perfect. We had a nice home, a good routine, and a connection I thought was unbreakable. Our days were filled with the usual chaos of family life, but I was so incredibly happy. Then everything changed, 2 years ago, all because of my sister, Lily. Lily is 34, just like Jake. We were on similar paths, but our lives have taken completely different turns, to say the least. Her relationship history has always been a disaster. She was single for a long time, and there was a good reason for it. As much as it pains me to admit it, Lily is a bit of a red flag when it comes to relationships. Her behavior is just neurotic. She's got a history of sabotaging her relationships, pushing people away with her unstable and manipulative behavior. It's always the same story. Things start off great, but they never last. She gets super intense too quickly, and then everything falls apart. She'll meet a guy, they'll start dating, and then she'll start picking fights over the most random things or become so possessive he can't breathe. Soon enough, it's over, and she's left wondering why she can't find someone who will stay. It's hard to watch, especially since she always takes her emotions out on me. She'd come over and complain about not being able to find a guy like Jake. The resentment was so thick you could cut it with a knife. She'd say things like, "You found a man, why can't I find somebody like Jake?" I tried not to take it personally, because I knew she was in a bad place, but it was hard not to feel like her words were aimed at me. I mean, despite all that, I still love my sister. I always hoped she'd find someone and be happy. I even tried to set her up with Jake's friend once, thinking they'd be a great match, but Lily's crazy and unsettling behavior shut that down real quick. She was so aggressive and controlling that I realized it wasn't worth risking our friendship for her. I still held out hope, though I really did. It was clear Lily didn't feel the same way about me. 2 years ago, we had a big family cookout at my parents' house for our 6th wedding anniversary. It was one of those rare moments when our whole family was together, and everyone was having a blast. The kids were playing. The air was filled with laughter and happiness. It felt perfect. As the evening went on, Lily pulled me aside. I thought she was going to give me some heartfelt anniversary wish. She complimented me, and I was shocked by how genuine she sounded. I asked her what she'd been up to and about her new boyfriend. But instead of the nice chat I expected, her tone changed. She looked at me with this weird intensity, and her next words hit me like a truck. She told me she and Jake had an affair after we got married. I thought it was some kind of sick joke and even chuckled, but she was dead serious. She claimed that after our wedding, Jake started texting her, and what began as getting to know you text turned into deep, emotional conversations. According to her, Jake told her we were always fighting, that he'd ask her to meet up, and that's when the affair supposedly began. My stomach dropped. I couldn't believe Jake, who had always been so devoted to me and our family, would ever do something like that. Lily said she'd kept it a secret but couldn't anymore. The quiet confidence with which she said it shook me more than the news itself. I thought about all the possibilities. Did he actually cheat on me? With my own sister? What about the kids? My mind was racing. I finally managed to ask her if she had any proof, and that's where she faltered. She said she had plenty of evidence, but as her sister, I should just believe her? That's when I knew she was lying. I've known her my whole life. I can tell when she's lying. She started to cry when she realized I wasn't buying it. "I can't believe you don't trust me," she sobbed. "I told you for your own good." And then, just like that, she told our parents the same lie. Everyone gathered around us, and Lily started screaming at Jake, accusing him of cheating on me with her. She even said he was blackmailing her because she didn't want to participate. My husband was as confused as I was. At first, he thought it was a joke, but when she started screaming like a maniac, it got serious. I hoped my parents would help. I mean, even if what she was saying was true, I would have been devastated. But they sided with Lily. Dad yelled at Jake, accusing him of playing with Lily's feelings. I felt so alone. My own sister confessed to having an affair with my husband, and my dad was more concerned with her feelings than mine, the wife and mother who was about to lose her husband. When we got home, Jake and I talked about everything. I trusted him. I knew he would never betray me. And before you think I'm naive, let me tell you, Lily has a long history of lying, She's ruined countless relationships with her petty lies. She once accused Jake's friend of cheating on her for no reason. She'd hide her own things and then ask him if he had brought other girls to the apartment. This would lead to huge fights, and when he was tired of it, my mom would say it was just a test. This whole situation just confirmed her pattern. So, I chose to believe my husband. The next few days were the worst of my life. My parents refused to hear our side of the story, choosing to believe Lily's baseless lies. Our once close-knit family was broken. Jake and I were isolated, and family gatherings became unbearable. My parents treated me with suspicion and completely ignored Jake. Lily, on the other hand, seemed to enjoy the chaos she had created. She played the victim, soaking up all the attention and pity. It was like she loved watching the damage she'd caused. The more I tried to defend us, the more she twisted the story to make us out to be monsters. I tried to talk to my parents, to explain that there was no proof, but it was useless. Their loyalty to Lily was unbreakable. Mom even accused me of being in denial and choosing Jake over my own sister, which broke my heart. I couldn't understand how they could abandon me so easily. Eventually, we had to distance ourselves from my family for our own sake and the kids' well-being. It was hard, but we couldn't keep living in the shadow of her lie. This became our new normal. I realized I didn't need their approval. If they wanted to believe her, so be it. Just when I thought the drama was finally over, something happened. I saw a post on Facebook, and guess what? Lily was engaged. She had shared a bunch of photos with her new fiancé, a guy named Mark, and a long, sappy caption about how she'd met the love of her life. She wrote about how he came into her life during the most difficult time she had ever experienced, a time of pain and betrayal. The irony made my stomach churn. She was using the same victim narrative to get sympathy. As I scrolled through the comments, I saw our family members, the same ones who had supported her, praising her. Some even made passive-aggressive comments at me, like good for you for getting past that toxicity. It was infuriating. They had no idea what happened. Yet they were celebrating her alleged courage. I felt betrayed by my whole family. They had completely cut me out of their lives while supporting the person who had caused so much pain. What worried me more was Mark. He had no idea who she really was. I felt bad for him, knowing he was being manipulated by the same lies that had destroyed my family. I wondered if she had told him the truth or if she was still lying. I was tempted to reach out and warn him, but I knew it wasn't my place. He would have to find out on his own. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread. I tried to ignore it, but it was hard. Then I started getting missed calls from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored them at first, but they kept coming. Finally, on a work break, I answered. It was a screaming Lily. She just started hurling insults at me. It was a torrent of unfiltered rage. I finally got her to calm down enough to explain why she was so mad. She paused for a moment, and then screamed. How could you claim to be innocent after what you've done? Before I could respond, she hung up. My mind was spinning. What had I done? I had stayed out of her life. The only person I could think to call for answers was my Uncle Tom. He was one of the few family members I still talk to, and he's always been the voice of reason. I called him, and he told me everything. Apparently, her fiancé, Mark, had called off the engagement. The reason? He had heard about the affair with Jake through family gossip. He's a good guy and had been looking into a fight he saw between me and Lily. When he found out about the affair, he was furious, but he didn't realize it was all a lie. Things took a more dramatic turn just before he called it off. Mark had been suspicious of Lily's weird behavior. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. So he checked her phone. What he found shocked everyone. She had been cheating on him with a guy she met on a dating app. Mark was the perfect guy for Lily, wealthy and a good catch, and she wasn't about to lose him. She had no choice but to confess everything. She admitted to Mark that the affair with Jake was completely made up. But instead of saving her, her confession backfired. She still didn't deny cheating on him. Mark was horrified. Not just by the cheating, but by the lies and the lengths she had gone to. He wanted nothing to do with her after that. After he broke off the engagement, Lily's life began to fall apart. Her lies were out in the open, and the people who had supported her started to pull away. The family members who had believed her story about Jake and me started to question everything. The comments on her engagement post disappeared, and my parents, who had so easily sided with her 2 years ago, were stunned by the truth. Even though I feel some sadness for her, I know the best thing for my family is to stay away from all of this. We've been through enough. I need to focus on protecting my husband, my kids, and myself. I'm grateful for the clarity. Even though it was hard to get, a couple of weeks went by, and things were still a little tense. My parents wouldn't stop trying to reach us. They called and texted a bunch. And while I'm still not happy about what happened, I decided to let them come over. I know they just want to see the kids, and I'm not going to deprive my kids of their grandparents. Even if my parents weren't the best at supporting me, they have always been loving grandparents, and my kids adore them. I knew the visit would be awkward, but I was willing to try for the kids. I'm going to set some boundaries and protect my own mental health. When they came over, the kids immediately broke the ice. They were so excited to see their grandparents. Later, when the kids were busy, I asked my parents where Lily was. They told me she was back at their place and wanted to apologize. I found it hard to take seriously. An apology seemed pointless after everything she had done. I told them that instead of wasting time, she should get some therapy. Her lying was more than a mistake. It was a serious problem. It was an interesting turn of events because Jake and Mark, Lily's ex-fiancé, have become friends. They started hanging out and realized they have a lot in common. Jake keeps Mark updated on what's going on with us, and it's nice to see them support each other. Mark is a mature guy and is already moving on with his life. He didn't deserve what happened, but all we can do is move forward. I think we are on the road to a resolution. Things will never be the same, but I'm hopeful they can get better. We've learned the importance of open communication, the danger of jumping to conclusions, and the power of forgiveness. We're not completely healed, but we are on the right track.